shooting down in the woods. He wouldn't leave it even if he could. 'Cause life is good, yeah!
Hickok45, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beautiful hills, the leafless hills these days of Middle Tennessee, home of Alvin York and Dolly Parton. And you know who else? A lot of shooters. many hunters and shooters. You know, they deserve as much billing as, well, maybe not as much as Alvin York, but they deserve some billing too, don't they? We do have our share of gun owners in Tennessee. I think I'm one of them. And you have even heard in some of the videos, haven't you? You know, gunfire in the distance, and that's just random stuff. People, you know, across the field shooting out in the back, target shooting. Could even be a hunter taking a big Bambi buck or whatever. And just lots of people in Tennessee own firearms, as in all states. But Tennessee probably per capita is as well armed as any state, I would guess, and we're proud of that, because that's a sign of a free state and a free country, isn't it? Which reminds me, I had a message just this I guess it was this morning. Sometime I lose track, the blur of messages and such that I try to answer all through the day, morning and night especially. And there was a fellow from Northern Ireland wrote me a long paragraph about how he enjoyed the videos and was so sorry that he could not own the same firearms that we have, that I have. And he went into, as a lot of people do, about how he's applying for a license to own a single barrel shotgun or something, you know, and what it was going to take a while to get it or whatever. I don't recall. I get so many messages like that, and I should be, if I had a better memory, I'd be the expert on gun laws and policies in every country on the planet that speaks English, at least. I really would, because people share that with. I do remember a lot of it. I mean, I don't try to commit it to memory. I don't. You know, I'm not going to be taking a quiz over it. I find it interesting to read about it, and there's a lot of common denominators, you know, in various countries and even states in the United States where you have to apply for a license and wait a period of time and then get a license for a specific type of firearm, like a semi-automatic license or, you know, whatever. But anyway, I always feel for those people, and I don't make, you see in the comments sometimes people, are a little bit lighthearted about that, and will not give them a hard time, I guess, but kind of rub it in, hey, you need to move to the United States, I've got 30 guns, or, whatever, or your country's horrible, or whatever, and the country's not necessarily horrible, but they definitely don't have the freedoms that we have, do they? In a lot of places, and I was this morning, because I'm up early every morning, really early, and it's one of the first things I do is go through all the messages and catch that up for a while, and I was just in the mood to write, and I wrote him back and shared with him, that it's a shame, because, and not in the spirit of rubbing it in, just kind of sharing. Well, he's a fan. I mean, he loves the videos and everything. He knows I'm not being a smart aleck, but I was just sharing with him how it's too bad, because I could go buy a AR-15 this morning and have it back here at the compound at 10 o'clock and shoot the thing, and that I was going to a gun show later this morning, and same thing, which I did, and could pick up all the ammo, 10,000 rounds of ammo if I wanted, and 3 or 4 pistols if I wanted, and bring them home, have them home. Background check takes about 5 minutes, and just to kind of point out the contrast and how he is correct, in his assessment that it is way different here, and just to give him insight as he was giving me insight into what it is like in his country, with the restrictions. Then I heard back from him, an hour or so later when I was back online, and he wrote me a couple of long paragraphs about what he was going through and the licenses he was applying for and firearms he wanted to get. And I should save that and paste it somewhere. I mean, that might be the best ad for joining the NRA and other gun rights organizations. Really, I should be saving all these. And you all see them, though. You see them in comments. So you know what folks go through in other countries to own anything sometimes, even if they're allowed to own anything. And before I get off track too far, speaking of Alvin York, see, I might get off track, but I usually remember where I was back there along the dirt road somewhere. I get off the pavement and then onto the gravel road and then onto a dirt road sometimes, but I always wind around, well, normally find my way back to the topic. But speaking of Alvin York and Tennessee, somebody was telling me, I don't recall whether it was online or in real life, that they're featuring Alvin York at the War Memorial Museum downtown Nashville. I think now and then through May, so I assume they're correct. So I want to get down there and see that. But so anyway, what are we going to talk about today? Well, as I have warned you, I save the boring stuff for the radio show. If it's too interesting or too exciting, it needs to be in a vlog at least. So this is the boring stuff. This is the rambling. Otherwise, I probably would not do it. If it took preparation to do this, what I'm doing, first of all, you would think I was even dumber than I am, right? If I actually told you I prepared for this. Well, I jot down a couple of topics I might talk about, and that's my preparation, about 10 seconds worth. But mainly my preparation is I need to be in the mood to do it. And I mean, I'll admit, if I haven't done it for 2 or 3 weeks, I'll think about it and say, I haven't done a radio show for a while. Am I in the mood? Let me see if I can get myself in the mood, think of a couple of things to talk about. Because if I haven't done it for a while, it's not hard to get in the mood to do it. It's kind of like pizza. If you haven't had pizza for a week, it's not hard to get in the mood for pizza. And I enjoy doing this. I guess that proves it. To make a pizza analogy, I do enjoy what we do. The videos, the radio show, I would not do it if I did not enjoy it. And so I'm trying hard to think of some boring things to talk about. And I'll probably come up with that. At the gun show, speaking of gun show today, I ran into a couple of older gentlemen. Don't you hate old people like me? No, these guys had gray hair. They were, I guess they were about my age. Might offend them, if they're listening. I'm bad about judging age. I see somebody with gray hair, and I still think of them as being an old guy, unlike me. Y'all that are older can appreciate that, and you young people need to remember that. You really don't feel old. I mean, I guess unless you're sick or having a lot of health problems. I mean, most people are way overweight or something. Most people generally don't feel old unless they're just unhealthy and have a reason to feel old. I still think of myself, and I'm not just saying this. There's nothing sacred about being young or old or middle-aged or anything else. Everybody just is the age they are, and everybody's going to be every age, till they die, wherever their age stops at that point. Okay, if that made any sense. So I really am bad about judging age. Never have been very good at that. And part of it, again, is it hadn't caught up with me yet. I still feel 21 or 30. I don't think of myself as this old guy until I start thinking about how long I've done something, a particular thing, or these guys I ran into. In fact, what did I told them? Oh yes, I made the comment. I met them at the gun show. I ran into them. They recognized my ugly face. We talked a little bit, and I was and had a good chat with them. And as I walked away, I remember I had made the comment how I had been coming to this gun show for 30 years, in our conversation. As I was walking away, I was thinking, well, that was right, wasn't it? no, that was not right. It's 40 years I've been going to that gun show at that location. So it's just amazing how fast the years and the decades creep on by. I'm doing the same stuff. I mean, I can go out here and run around the farm and just do whatever I want to do. I'm fortunate. I'm healthy. And so I forget about age. But one thing I was going to mention is that I really enjoy the fact that the viewers, there's such a variety of viewers, I guess is what I was going to say, who watch the videos. We try to not get too political and all that kind of thing, so we can hopefully pull everybody into the shooting sports. And that's hard sometimes, but that's one aspect. I get a lot of messages from people who express appreciation for that, and sometimes it's not easy. But that's what we want to do. That's part of our mission. If we have a mission, is to get as many people interested in shooting as possible, buying guns and supporting gun rights, and it's all good if we can do that. But so political persuasion and of course race, nationality is not an issue. I try to ignore that. People are just people, but there's nothing more obnoxious than a bigot. But age is what I was really focusing on there. It's neat having a variety of age groups that watch the videos, and that comes through, of course, in comments. You see comments from crusty old guys like myself that have a lot of experience, a lot of years experience, you can tell, or they'll just state their age, and then there'll be a lot of young people, and then a fair number of really young people. So it's just totally across the spectrum. And I see that slice of life, or those slices of life, as I run into people, or people run into me that know me, that recognize me. I don't recognize them. It's hard for me to see through the computer screen. I'm still working on that application, get that installed on my laptop so I can see you, through the screen there. So keep your underwear on, please. But well, kind of depends on whether you're female or male, right? I didn't say that. Where was I? Oh, yes. It's neat having a variety of age groups watching, and at gun shows and conventions and different places, as I run into people, again, they run to me and recognize me. We have conversations. It's all age groups, and that's pretty cool. I guess I'm a little, like all of us, maybe a little narrow-minded. I still tend to think of people who are into computers and bouncing around the internet, YouTube, and savvy about where good videos are, or anything is on the internet. I tend to think of them as younger folks, and maybe that is a generalization that has some merit to it. But that has changed a lot, and I think I've seen it change even more in the last 3-4 years since we've been doing this. I know did not run into as many gray-haired people at gun shows and various conventions the first year or so, I think, as I do now. And I just think there's more people who have discovered YouTube, and that there's some good stuff on YouTube, not just us. That there's some worthy videos out there, in every area, I guess, but in the shooting world. So that's a good thing that these old guys are finding the internet, finding YouTube, and discovering the good stuff. Because both these guys were, as I say, they were either my age or right close to it, and maybe older. I don't know. And you could tell they watching the videos. They were watching videos on YouTube. So. And that's been interesting over the last decades. I was into computers early, as I've bragged about or told you about. In 1981, I bought an Apple, my first Apple II and everything. So I've been into it for a long time. Never a geek, never a programmer or anything like that. But unless you're my age, you can't really appreciate what it was like in 1980 or 81 and having a nice computer and printer, because not many people were into it at that time at all. Except real geeks, programmers and people like that, or you might have had access at a company you work with, and use one. But as far as buying a nice personal computer for the house and getting into email, CompuServe, and actually using it, I got into it early on. And it was as the decades passed, it just took a lot of time for the older generation to get into the computer world. And you know what did it? Many of you do. Finally, when email became, so prevalent and easy to use, AOL and everything, and just not a problem. You could send pictures, digital pictures, and then the digital cameras were simple, and just email first. Then I noticed finally I had some older folks in my family, uncles, actually using it to keep in touch with their family. It's such an easy way. Like we don't know that, right? You have family that's moved off to California, nieces, nephews, daughters, or whatever, and then you begin to realize, whoa, hey, they send me pictures. Well, it was initiated mostly by the youngsters, of course, talking their parents and their grandparents into getting a computer and talking them through it, getting a nice one so they could send them pictures of the grandchildren, and then later videos, of course. And then as digital cameras were everywhere, then the whole world changed, didn't it? And the rest is history, as they say. But I came up through that period of time as that was happening and before that was happening. So the old people finally got on board, and they're on board, and it's just interesting seeing that. And again, it's nice having a variety of people watch the videos and really follow the videos. And some of the videos, some of the messages and comments are from people who are very experienced, and guys in the military and people who are trainers around the country will write me, and it's nice having every group represented. Even if we do have some 12-year-olds that get away from their game playing and just occasionally to leave a comment we don't like. We do have a wide spectrum there of viewers. So I should be thankful, John and I should be thankful for that, even if it's not always neat and tidy. By the way, I just got back from a ride on the Harley. We've been lucky so far. We've had some pretty decent days here on weekends to ride, which is my primary chance to do it. So I got out on a ride. I might even ride that thing to work tomorrow. I'm thinking about it, and depending on the weather, the temperature's going to be okay, but I'm not sure about the rain and all that. So, but anyway, I enjoy that. I'm really enjoying the Harley. I'll enjoy it a lot more next spring. I got it kind of late, but I've gotten in some nice riding time. Haven't gone on any long trips, but I just thoroughly enjoyed that. I just rode over to 7 or 8 miles away from here, and then back and around, just warm it up. As I understand, you need to run those things at least once a week, even through the winter, start them up and that kind of thing. It's one reason you can have some trouble, especially with the old clunker Harleys. One reason they end up leaking on you and all that kind of thing, as I understand, is people just let them sit through the winter, and I guess the gaskets dry out and all that kind of thing. Not good for anything really, kind of motor vehicle. But that is really fun. I underestimated it. I may have yacked about this before, but good thing it's my show, so I don't get censored, right? But I as a bicycler, I'm not one of those nut bicyclers. I may have talked to you about this before. I've just always enjoyed bicycles, and as a kid we lived on them, and I just never totally got away. And I've always had a pretty nice little 10-speed, back when those were popular. And then when mountain bikes became available, I got a mountain bike, talking about bicycle, trail bike, and then a road bike too. And I'm not one of those guys gets out and goes for 40-mile rides. I just enjoy riding through the country for maybe 10 miles at a time, sometimes 20. That's not that I couldn't ride further. It's like everything else. I don't want to go shoot all day long. I don't want to do anything all day long, unless there's a supermodel involved, right? I want to just enjoy it occasionally, and it's fun to get out on a bicycle and ride back through the country roads for an hour. That's just really relaxing and a lot of fun. I've never, not that there's anything wrong with it. I just all my bicycling I always do just cargo shorts and a t-shirt. I try to find a pretty bright t-shirt, but I just wear what I wear around the place. Maybe change t-shirts before I take off, and that's my bicycling uniform. I've never been into the spandex and that. I guess it'd be safer, and I could ride maybe more comfortably, and I could ride faster. Ooh, it's more aerodynamic. And I could ride in cold weather with some of that stuff. But again, I do it for fun. I do it for enjoyment. So if it's 25 degrees, I never was even thinking about being on a bicycle. Or even if it's 40, it's just not any fun for me. But there's just something about a bicycle. You guys who ride bikes, gals who ride bikes, you know what I mean. It's just neat. It's fun. It's an interesting machine. Quite an invention. So when I start thinking about a motorcycle, or whenever I've thought about it, and whenever I've encountered them, on the road when I'm biking, I always think, oh man, this lazy guy, you ought to get a bike, motorcycle. Big old heavy motorcycle. How much fun can that be? And I just didn't fully appreciate it. I really did not. I was a little bit biased. And until I rode John's and kind of got used to it and got comfortable with it. And now I just realized the fun. You're it is on a bicycle when you're going 20 or 30 miles an hour. Of course, it makes me a little nervous going that fast on a bicycle, on a 25-ounce bicycle, or pound bicycle. 25 ounce, I'd really be nervous, but on a 25-pound bicycle, that's really fast for me. And and then plus every car that comes up behind you, every car, and I only ride in the country really, so on roads that are not very heavily traveled, and at a time when it's not rush hour, that sort of thing. But still, every car that comes up behind you is a potential threat. He has to see you and miss you, for you to survive. Basically, every car, you have to count on them seeing you, that sort of thing. So I'm not sure which is more dangerous, motorcycling or bicycling. But anyway, I have grown to appreciate the motorcycle. It is really neat. Even though it's big and heavy, I see the attraction. It is quite a thrill. It is fun, no doubt about it. You don't have that issue of people coming up behind you. As long as you're moving with traffic or even a little faster or whatever, you can do that, on a motorcycle. And they're so quick to speed up. That's a cool thing. You've got this power you don't have with a bicycle. Coming from both worlds now, or having experience in both worlds, I really have grown to appreciate that fact that if you're in the right gear, you can avoid and get ahead of situations you see that might arise. I mean, it's just, you really can accelerate so quickly, you slow down quickly, you just have a lot of control. You just have to watch those intersections, and anybody that's pulling out, and assume they're going to pull out in front of you. And as long as you drive extremely defensively and you are extremely careful, you might never go down. Who knows? But anyway, it is a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to the spring. I hope it's a really mild winter, so that I get a few days to ride, because it's just a lot of fun. What else was I? Oh, I was going to update you on the Wounded Warrior project. I believe John and I, we've come to the conclusion that we are finished in terms of doing anything for the Wounded Warrior project through the channel. Again, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. It's not like they're a horrible enemy or anything, but just the publicity that they've generated. I listened to the interviews with Tom Gresham, and it's they do a lot of good. But again, we're going to the next time we post an auction, it's going to be for something else. Second Harvest Food Bank, and there's some other veterans programs we're going to donate to them. So there's lots of options, and so we'll just folks want to kind of shun the firearms world, that's their choice. We're going to shun them a little bit, so no animosity, just we'll take your money. Actually, it's not my money. Take your money elsewhere. Well, I donate too, but it's your in terms of target sales and those sorts of things, it's auctions. It's coming from you all, and so I think we would be less successful in terms of helping soldiers or hungry people if we, put those targets or whatever we put up on auction for organizations that people have a problem with. Didn't take me too long to figure that out, right? So anyway, just an update on that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and listen to Tom Gresham's radio shows over the last month, or I'm sure it's in the news somewhere. Google around, you'll find that what's going on with that. I just saw a news clip, part of a news clip about I'm not even sure where it was coming from exactly, obviously from our administration, but a desire to make it much more difficult to buy a semi-automatic firearm, to put it into a Title II classification, like an Uzi or a Select Fire, a true assault rifle. And so here it goes, and here it comes, and we knew that would be happening. Just want to encourage everybody to don't just hide in the bunker. Don't just stock up on ammo and make sure your magazine inventory is where you want, and all that sort of thing. And I know all of us shooters tend to do that, and we've got to be proactive. And again, put some money into this. While you're putting money into magazines or ammo or firearms and that sort of thing, put it into the gun rights groups, okay, and to communication with your representatives, because that's how we'll survive all this. Not by stocking up and hiding. There's just we just can't hide. If all of us just buy a couple of guns that we think we might want and enough ammo for them and put them away, but we don't do anything politically, it may not help. As I always think about and point out, I'm not sure it's going to behoove us that much to have really cool firearms and ammo for them if we can't take them out of the house and shoot them. And obviously, I don't really want to have anything that's illegal. It's just not worth it. Too old to go to jail, for one thing. And you couldn't enjoy it anyway. I always wondered about people with illegal firearms, or having firearms. There's no such thing as an illegal firearm, I guess, like an illegal person. It's because you've done something illegal. The firearm is in the hands of somebody who's done something illegal, such as owning it without paperwork or without a background check. And I've always wondered how people, I really haven't known many people that would do that, but in the course of my life, I've had a couple of people, they were not even friends of mine, admit to having, or unless they were just blowing smoke, to having Select Fire, something without paperwork. Wow. Talk about being able to drop a dime on somebody. And one of these guys that I'm talking about actually has kind of had an obnoxious personality. He may be sitting in Leavenworth or somewhere right now. I don't know. But, I've always wondered, why would you do that? Why would you risk that? 10 years, $10,000, to have something that you don't have to pull the trigger on as much? Why? There's too many cool guns. And plus you can own those if you go through the process. But again, a little bit off track. It's just not going to be any fun to, and then you wouldn't even, the point I was going to make, you couldn't even take it out of the house. How could you enjoy it? If you had for example, a Select Fire Uzi, and you had no paperwork on it, you did not go through the process. All right, you are a felon, right? Where are you going to go shoot that gun if you're not going to be so paranoid? Are you ever going to be able to enjoy that firearm? Where are you going to hide that firearm that that you're not going to be constantly fearful that it's discovered? It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. But it kind of relates to what I'm talking about here. We don't want to be in a situation where, I got some cool guns, But then the restrictions are so incredible that you cannot even enjoy them, even if they're legal. You know, you're not going to be able to get ammo maybe for them. The restrictions are just so crazy. You can't take them to most ranges or something. Or I don't know. You know, telling what's going to happen. Or they're banned. You know, you got yours hidden away. We all got them hidden away. Not hidden, but we all got what we want. But meanwhile, while we're shopping for those to make sure we have them before the restrictions are put on them, the Congress is voting the things to be illegal or to be heavily restricted because we were not being politically active or we were not helping our gun rights organizations do what they needed to do and funding them properly. We were spending our money on guns that now, you know, we can hardly enjoy. I don't know. It's just we just need to be careful that we're not minoring or majoring in minors, you know, or because you know the pressure is going to be there. We've got to do what we can. And you young folks, even if you've never been politically active, you got to be politically active on this issue to some extent with your wallet, if no other way. And that is a really good way. You are paying for professionals, you know, for lobbyists to do what they need to do. And again, if we had 50 or 60 or 70 million people in these gun rights organizations, starting with the NRA, whether you like them or not, and some of the others as well, we would not have a problem. We wouldn't even be talking about this. So if people who own guns would go ahead and fork over that 30, 40 bucks a year, you know, for the cost of a couple of boxes of ammo, we would not be having these conversations all the time, and we wouldn't be worrying about this. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox, but it's kind of important if you want to be shooting 10 years from now, shooting the guns you want. So, just a word to the wise. Well, I guess I should have a gun of the show, right? And I actually do. I think I have a couple of guns of the show out today. I have one here that I was just finishing up cleaning up and for returning. And if you've been watching the videos recently, you might know what this beautiful firearm is. Let's take a listen. Yeah, it sounds like a slide pump action, huh? Yes, it is that beautiful, that gorgeous, that sexy UTS-15 by UTAS that I did the video on. So it's here in the reloading room, and I kind of, you know what, I was doing a project here around the house, building something, and I had some 2x4s and 2x6s I had to paint black, and there's a couple of those lying around here, and I lost this gun. I lost the UTAS. I lost this UTS-15 and couldn't find it, and there it was. It was lying by those 2x4s, and I just mistook it for a 2x4 or a 2x6. You believe that? It is believable, isn't it? Because that's kind of what it looks like. If it weren't for the pistol grip on it, you could mistake it for a 2x4 that somebody left lying around. So pretty different looking contraption, I'll have to say. And I couldn't resist, the loan of that as I was offered, because it's so unique and interesting, and it's supposed to be of reasonable quality. It's not just some piece of junk someone threw together. There's several years worth of design went into that thing, and I don't want to get into what's the Kel-Tec version, the K. I always want to say KGB or KSG or something, because I've not tried one of those yet. Possibly will be, but which is better and all that. But this gun, it's almost hard to talk about it in terms of being quality. The way these things are made, some of these newer high-tech firearms, but it does seem to be pretty well made. Has some limitations. I took it out and shot it. If you saw the video, I couldn't get the magazine selector to the left to cut off the left magazine because it was already ready to go and fully loaded. And before I I cleaned it up here to return. I went out and shot it. Another couple of magazines through it, and I experimented some more with that, and that wasn't just an aberration. It apparently, unless this one just has a little bit of a defect or something, you can't just randomly or at any point you want to cut off the magazines. I don't know. It seemed like the right one would cut off okay. Maybe that's characteristic. I could cut the right one off. I could put it in the middle where it feeds alternately, or I could cut the right magazine off. It seemed like any time I wanted. But there was something about the left magazine. The round was just a little bit further rearward in the way, and maybe that's by design. That's just the way it is. If you, trying to think, if you are going to want to cut one of the magazines off in the middle of operation, you need to put those rounds that you might not want to use or to save in the right magazine, I guess, or something. I don't know. Maybe that's it. I'll research it further, but I wanted to check that out again, make sure it wasn't just something was going on in the video, because we do our live, real life, real time videos, and they're not as slick as they could be, of course, but kind of what happens is what happens, and so you see that as it's happening. If I have a little trouble with something, and that's kind of real because I'm having a little trouble with something, and I don't worry about it too much. If it's something I'm not worried. I don't want to look foolish or stupid. Like I dumped the round out. Part of as I was about to shoot once there, if you saw the video, you know what I'm talking about. And that doesn't happen. Generally, I have a pump gun. They don't. Once you put it in, it doesn't. It kind of sits down in there, and it doesn't happen. And so I just hadn't had that experience. Now I know that if I were going to war, I would know what to do. But you learn something from that. I learned from it, and we go with it and just play with the firearm. But it's an interesting gun. It seems to work. I just shot 15 shots before I cleaned it up, and she works fine. Alternating between magazines, not a problem. So 15 rounds is a lot of shotgun shells to have without having to reload, and of course it's a little slow to reload, or to have to reload in a hurry. So it's just that kind of firearm. I think it'd be for police. I think it's great. Probably better than for military applications. If you're going to be in an extended firefight where you're going to have to be reloading a lot, maybe in a dangerous environment with a little cover or something, I don't know. A little bit like reloading a Captain Ball revolver. You'd want to find some place safe to reload it, perhaps. And but I don't know when in police work you're going to need more than 15 shotgun shells, 14, whatever it would hold of the longer shells. But pretty interesting, and we appreciate the guys. We're really lucky in Nashville. We have a lot of good gun shops. There's a lot of horror stories about gun shops around the country, and we're just very fortunate. We have 2 or 3 really well stocked gun shops with incredible inventory, and that's always nice. And then even the smaller shops, they're just interesting too, because they specialize in certain sorts of things, and that maybe you can't find in the bigger shops, or they have a shooting range, or just whatever. They're just there's something that just about every shop offers, and I visit most of them from time to time. I really do, and appreciate support from all of them. We get support from several of them. Have lent us firearms, and have offered to help in any way they can, that kind of thing. So that's kind of nice. And the guys here at the Nashville gun shop are Turkish, and really nice. I remember the first time I walked in there. They're both gosh, I always forget their names, but they're Mustafa and gosh, I always forget the other fellow's name. They're both like 6'5" or something. The big guys, and they're twins. So that's always interesting. Demir, I couldn't. It just came to me. I was looking for the card, couldn't find it. But yeah, Demir and Mustafa, both really nice guys, and they're a scream, and they're not a big shop, but they have interesting firearms in there. They have quite a few. They have interesting firearms. It's where I got my Scar 17. They gave me a really good price on it, I thought. And so anyway, you never know what those guys are going to have. They had 3 or 4 Scars in there when people didn't even have Scars of any kind, 16s or 17s. But we're very fortunate. I shouldn't get into mentioning shops because I'll forget one. But we have lots of them. We have Guns and Leather, of course, is one that everybody likes. And their main store burned recently. If you're in the Nashville, Middle Tennessee area, I'm sure they would appreciate any business you can take their way. They have another shop over in Hendersonville on Gallatin Road, where they're working out of now till they get the other one rebuilt. And that's a popular shop. Good folks. You've got Tennessee Gun Country up in Clarksville. There's Guns and Archery up in Clarksville. A couple of good shops. What else? I shouldn't have started this, should I? Franklin Gun Shop down in Franklin, Tennessee. If you they probably have the biggest inventory. I don't know. They maybe more than Guns and Leather, but that's a nice shop down that way. Then we got the Armory Outpost down south east of Nashville, heading toward Chattanooga. If you're ever on Interstate I-24 going towards Chattanooga, you want to stop there, and there's lots of signs. And that shop's actually owned by Ronnie Barrett, of the .50 caliber rifle we all know about. And they have everything there. And I'm not going to get into pricing. Some shops have better prices, more competitively priced than others. And some shops have such an incredible inventory, and that's one way you fund an incredible inventory, by being closer to retail on your pricing. We all know that. It's like with anything you're shopping for. There's some shops where the pricing's good, but they just may not have what you're looking for, and you go pay a little bit more sometimes. I don't know where I'm ever going to find something, but I know such and such will have it, so I'm just go there and get it. That kind of deal. What else? There's a little gun shop on Charlotte Pike. I think it's is it Nashville? I don't know what that's called now. I forget. There were a couple there over the years. There's one over at Hickory. What's that one called? Guns and Ammo or something. I don't know. Where else do I frequent or pop? Well, of course, Jolton. Jolton Gun Shop. Their Academy of Self-Protection. I almost forgot them, and they've helped me probably more than anybody. Right there in Jolton off I-24 between Nashville and Clarksville. It's just a couple hundred yards off the interstate. They've got a shooting range there. And let's see, since I got into this now, I don't want to leave anybody out, because I stop at all of them when I get a chance. You never know what you're going to run into. Somebody's just traded in, or box of ammo you're looking for nobody else has. That's sort of. Specialty Arms down in Laverne, Tennessee. Done business with them for 30 or 40 years, and their shop burned. I guess it's been almost a year ago now. They're back in operation. I understand. I haven't been in the new shop. Need to get down that way. So who else? And there's a lot of new shops that have popped up. Well, what's it called? Nashville Armory, I think. It's right there just south of Nashville on I-65. It sits right on the interstate. If you're ever coming into Nashville from south, on I-65, you will see it. It's right on the interstate. You could literally throw a rock from your car and hit the building. It's maybe 2-3 miles before you get to downtown Nashville, on the east side of the interstate. And some good people there. I know some of those folks that moved around. One of the guys worked there is from On Target down in Murfreesboro. They've helped us out. Oh, man, I shouldn't have gotten into this. But, oh well, sorry if I forget. But a lot of good gun shops around Nashville, and you need to frequent as many of those as you can. I do buy ammo online. I'll even occasionally pick up something at Walmart. I've gotten to where I buy most of my ammo, the bulk of it, guess online. Although the ammo that is not as easily available, or if I find ammo that it's a decent price at all, I'll buy it in gun shops, and then they'll all attest to that, because I'll go in and buy 6 or 8 boxes, quite often here and there, and a lot of gun shops don't specialize in stocking ammo, practice ammo. They have lots of good carry ammo, but that's tough. It's hard work. Gun shops trying to stock a lot of just range ammo and keep the price competitive. It just really is. They have to buy a lot of it, and they need to have room to stock it. Guns and Leather, for example, does that. Tennessee Gun Country up in Clarksville, they have a lot of ammo. And I guess the Guns and Archery has quite a bit there in Clarksville. I'm not sure about the Franklin Gun Shop. Most gun shops have some ammo, of course. It's behind the counter, mostly carry ammo. Shops that tend to specialize or feature having practice ammo, range ammo for all the popular calibers, it pretty much jumps out at you. They have shelves, and quite often it's out there in the customer area, for you to go through and find what you need. And it's just a lot of work. Even some of the very best gun shops don't fool with that. They just, okay, we can't compete with Walmart or whoever, or the online ordering business. We're just going to have some good carry ammo for anything we sell. We're going to focus on guns and accessories, and all that kind of thing. And they just don't make a big thing out of that. But some do, and I really appreciate. I know shooters really appreciate the gun shops that do that, because that's not easy, stocking and keeping stocked a lot of ammo, and having it competitively priced so that you're likely to pick up several boxes. You're just not going to save much by ordering it online or elsewhere, or even at a gun show, having prices that are about the same as that. That's nice to be able to go into a gun shop and pick up 4 or 5 boxes of 9mm, without paying $20 for it. That's really a convenience, and it is greatly appreciated, definitely. I think I told you I had 2 guns out here, which I do. I was going to go out and prowl around and plink a little bit with it. Now, I'm probably not going to have time to do that now, but hear it? Yes, good old revolver. It's my Model 65, which is a 357 Magnum K-frame, Smith & Wesson. So nice. It's the one you should have seen somewhere, revolver video. I guess that video, Revolver Love, I guess I had that out in that video, and we've done a video with it. They do another one with it. It's a favorite. It's a 3-inch bull barrel K-frame 357 Magnum, stainless. Doesn't get a lot better than that. If I were going to carry a revolver in a holster, that would be one of my top choices. That's one of my favorite carry guns right there, in a revolver. You just can't do a lot better than that. It's the one I've bobbed the hammer on it. It really is. And it's not pretty, maybe because of that. Fixed sights, got boot grips on it, rubber boot grips. Just a very plain Jane functional revolver. It's the kind of gun, if you didn't have any other gun, you would be well armed, very well armed. It's just a fact. What about guns? Let's see. I think in the last radio show I talked a lot about some of the videos we've been doing in different firearms. Came clean on some firearms I have. You still haven't seen some of those videos, I realize that. We will be posting some videos. We're a little bit ahead, which is nice, because I tell you, we never know what the weather's going to be like. As I've mentioned before, we could go a couple of weeks, 3 weeks or so, and not do a video, period. And so we like to have a few ahead. And you are going to see one soon. There is a video I've got to get up. That's so bad. Talked about that before, about having a video that we maybe do in August and then posting it in the winter. We have one of those. we have one of those left. Maybe another one, a close-up, I'm not sure. But I have a video. All I'm going to tell you, since you are suffering through this rambling, it's CZ52. Probably already told you about it, 2 months ago, and that it was coming up. We still have not posted that crazy thing. I don't know what's wrong with it. We end up, it is a little bit random. We'll get 3 or 4 videos done, then we get another gun. Oh, we got to post this one, and then it's just, so we try to, again, have a little method to our madness. And, let me take this call. It could be the president. And it wasn't the president. It was no one calling for advice. But live radio, huh? One video or a firearm that we have, I got in a Gen 4 Glock 32. I've done a little bit with that cartridge, the 357 SIG. Just put a barrel, 357 SIG barrel in a Glock 23. That's been a couple of years ago, though, and we have not done a Chapter 2 or anything with it. So I just wrote the Glock or emailed them, had them send me a 357 SIG Gen 4. Let's just get one of those. Let's get it's out, and so need to do a little more with that anyway. And rather than do another video with a Glock 23 conversion, I'll just go and get a Gen 4 in that gun and shoot that some. That's a nice cartridge. It really is. I tend to favor heavier bullets, and like a 40 at least, 180 grains and that kind of thing. And even if I shoot a 9, I like 147 grain, maybe 124. I've never been a huge fan of lightweight screaming bullets for self-defense. I know they're very effective. It's hard to beat 357 Magnum, 125 grain. That's one of the best loads out there, of course, and that's what the 357 SIG attempts to duplicate. I'll say a lot. I know several people that carry that gun, and you can't argue with it at all. It's a little bit more of a professional's gun, quote unquote. Now, by that I mean someone who has learned to shoot, has shot a lot, I think, because it's not a gun caliber I would recommend for someone getting into shooting that wants a carry gun, to buy a Glock or whatever for a carry gun or SIG, because I don't know how good you're going to become with that cartridge unless you have a very large bank account. And plus you're starting with something that's lots of blast and some recoil. So it's not a good cartridge to learn on. I don't think. You might disagree. So, but once you have some skill developed and you don't mind recoil, you're not recoil sensitive, it doesn't throw you off, you don't have trigger jerk and all that with it, and you can shoot the cartridge well. I can't say anything negative about it. I mean, look at the ballistics, look at the test that 10 Outdoors 9 does with it, the ballistics test and the ballistics gel, and what the FBI's done, and I think there's several agencies. I think Tennessee State Troopers carry it, and all sorts of agencies. It's just a good round. Yeah, it just really is. So, I don't know. I would have no problem carrying it for self-defense at all. You always have to ask yourself, okay, why am I not carrying maybe a 40 or a 9? Is it that much better? What's this bullet going to do that the 9's not going to do exactly if it hits in exactly the same place? Am I going to be killed because I had a 9 instead of a 357 SIG? Am I going to be killed because I had a 40 instead of a 357 SIG? Am I going to be killed because I had a 357 SIG instead of a 10 millimeter? Or because I had a 10 millimeter instead of a 44 Magnum? I don't know, there's no end to that when you start analyzing it, but it is a good cartridge, no doubt about it. And I have picked up another box of ammo today at the gun show. I think I have 3 or 4 boxes now, 357 SIG. So it's expensive stuff. It's hard to find any bargains on that. So we're going to shoot that and play with that here one day and get a chance. I guess I better let you go. Phone call means I need to run, go meet John. I'm going to eat something and eat a bite. John's moved out closer to us and very close. In fact, I mean, within just a few miles, which is great. He'll be by the house a whole lot more often, and just during the day, at night. So that's great. That's great. That it helps with security and everything else. So if I'm available and free, we'll have maybe a little more time to get together for videos if the weather permits this winter. But anyway, going to let you go. I probably rambled enough, and again, we appreciate all of you all. Anybody that's listening to this whole thing must probably be sick enough that you probably see all the videos, and we appreciate you all watching them, and appreciate the support. Continue to help us manage the channel. It really is getting to be a load. I'll tell you, and I've bitten off more than I can chew in terms of trying to answer everybody, read every message, and every private message, and try to keep up with most of the comments. I've said for years, I think, that it's just about to get out of hand. At this point, it really is. It really is. Hundreds of messages a day, and it really. I'm going to have to rely on you all to help police it. Really am. We may not be able to keep it as clean and trouble-free as we have in the past. I don't know. It's just wow. It's just an incredible volume. So I do solicit help from you all as much as you can. Answer people's questions. Get the idiots into spam. Let them know they're not welcome. We're trying to keep a clean channel, a constructive channel. We're not wanting to bash anybody unnecessarily at all. If somebody deserves bashing, let's bash them out. We don't want that stupid stuff on the channel if we can help it. But just use common sense and help me any way you can. I really appreciate it. So you guys have a great week, and we'll yak at you later. You've been listening to the Hickok45 radio show. See you on the range.